everyone, it's time for another little bit of this Lost Property Office page. I'm just having a look and I might do this bit or I might do this bit. I think we'll do this bit. That's what I fancy doing today. I was just about to start and my doorbell rang and it was a parcel, and my son popped to the door. He said, "Oh, it's for you. It's an Amazon parcel." So it's very strange. I haven't ordered anything. I'm not expecting anything. And turned out it was something that wasn't for me, which was really odd. I've never had that before. This pair of earmuffs I'm going to colour with number 25. I'm going to use this sort of round and round movement to try and make it look fluffy. That's how Johanna's drawn them. Yeah, so I didn't know what to do, so I got in touch with customer services. "Oh, just keep it." And I'm like, "Yeah, but can you make sure that the person who it was meant to be for actually gets their items that they paid for?" And they assured me they would, so that was good. Thinking about this band on the I might go for this slightly darker pink, the number 23, and I might do it a little bit darker at the bottom, a few more layers there, and then less at the top where it's going to be. I'm sort of thinking it'll catch the light, although there's this shelf above it, but yeah, we'll just pretend it might. There we go. So inside the parcel, you're probably all wondering, what was it? Was it something she wants to keep? No. Number 16. I'm just going to do the label. It was a tin of paint, furniture, shabby chic gold furniture paint, which is not something that I would use. Probably really expensive actually. And a little dog ornament, which was only about that big, made of wood. Now I'm trying to work out what this is. I've worked out what it is. This is a piece of cross stitch in a circular frame. I can't remember what they're called. So I'm going to use number 49 to sort of do the frame. I've had one of these before. My frame was a really light, very beige colour. I don't have that colour. So I'm just going to use this quite lightly. I don't know if it was bamboo or what wood it was really. So I'm just going to go over that a little bit. And then the sort of claspy bit, or mine was gold, but I'm going to do it in silver because it's easier. Number 80, whoops, and if I do it in gold it might just look like the wood. Just checking my lights on, seems a bit dark. I think we're okay. Yeah, so that was a bit of excitement. Oh, there's a big box. Oh, not really for me. Now the fabric on the cross stitch, it's very often just a white. I could colour it in white because our paper is cream, but I think I will just maybe use a light yellow. We'll try that. This is number 10 and I'll do that just so that it could be any colour really, but usually well, the ones I've had have been white fabric, and then you sometimes they have a printed pattern on them, and sometimes you do a counted cross stitch where you find the you work it out. Interesting thinking about cross stitch in that I was approached by a company to see if I wanted to be sent some cross stitch. Now I'm trying to work out, I think that's a juggling ball, and I'm going to do it in multicolours. You can get them the ones which have one different colour on each quadrant. So this is the red 29, and I'm going to do it much darker at the bottom here and try and make it a little lighter towards the centre, and I'm going to do that on every one just to try and make the ball look a bit more spherical. Yeah, there we go. I used to have a set of juggling balls like this. It's just one. Number 52 for our green. So yeah, I shall be donating those items to charity shop. They're not my thing, not for me. I have a few ornaments, but not many. Number 1, I've got a little gorgeous China Lucky Cat that Rita Berman sent me, and that sits on my other desk. And I've got a pair of elephants, number 3, that my gran gave me when she was sorting out her things in her house before she went into a home. And I've got a glass paperweight which my mum gave me. That's it. Oh, I've got a fish in my bathroom. This I'm thinking, is it a crystal ball with this sort of swirling? That's how I'm going to colour it, I think. They're normally just see-through, aren't they? But could we make it look slightly more magical? I think we can. Let's go for number 20. And I'll show you what I'm going to do. So I'm going to put a few areas of pink. So a big splodge there. And then I'm going to fade that out. And then I'm going to do that again, just in a random place. And then a bit there. And a bit there. Yeah. And then I'm going to get the lighter of the purples, number 62, and fill in the space really. So I'm just going to overlap it with the pink that's there. I could do some darker areas as well, but I'm just going to fill in the space to start with. And then I'm going to darken some areas, although it's not going to show up that much with this light colour. I think it looks a little bit more magical than just having left it plain. But what do we do for the base? I'm thinking let's go for silver. I know we did a bit of silver already up there. Let's do a silver base. And this is number 8. So I'm thinking for these top ones, I might try make it dark and then leave a sort of shine in the middle, like that. Yeah, it's Sunday today, and this darker one makes it look a bit more pewtery. We were going to go out for the day, but my husband is back again. So unfortunately, I don't think he really left it time to properly recover before he started overdoing it. So he needs a day off driving, so I thought I'd come and make a video. I went out for a nice walk this morning anyway. I'm not sure if that looks metallic or not, but anyway, I'm thinking I could probably come in a bit closer. That's it. Okay, now we've got 3 books, so we can go any colour really with these. I'm going to do the first one green. This is our darkest green. This is our 38. Yes, so when I walked along the canal to the supermarket to get a few supplies for lunch, and my husband had forgotten one thing off the shopping list. It didn't really matter, but I wanted to walk, so it was a good reason for going, and children wanted some crisps to go with their lunch and things. So, and I saw a heron. It flew over the top of my head as I was walking on the canal path, which is always good fun. I'm doing these edges a bit darker, and then I'm going to do a lighter bit towards the centre to try and make the book look slightly curved. She goes out of the lines. If you do it darker here, it can make the edge look a bit curved, and some hardback books are curved. That bit, I'm thinking maybe it would be slightly gold. Let's use number 16. This can often look a little bit gold. If we just do it a bit, leave a gap and a bit more, it might look a bit gold. Maybe, I don't know. Might have to squint and pretend. Now, our next book, I am thinking maybe a sort of reddish orange colour. Yeah, let's grab this one. I can't decide. Being indecisive. Number 2, it gets easier because I try and use lots of different colours. So once I have used quite a lot, then I have less choice. Yes, so the heron. I saw a moorhen as well in the water. I also saw some ripples. There was something about near the bank, but I leant over. I couldn't see. I didn't lean over too far, but I approached that area as I was walking and just had a little peep, but I couldn't see anything. You'd have to lean over really. But the water level was really low, which was very reassuring. This book is this. I'm doing it in the same way as the other one. It's always nice to see that we're not at flood risk again at the minute. This is number 43, and I'm just going to use it for the pages of the book. But what I've realised is we've got this inside bit of cover that I haven't done, so I need to grab that orangey colour again, back to the number 2. Just fill that in. There we go. Now this book, I want it to be quite a different colour. I'm thinking maybe I'm just checking what else we've got. That's the Scottish flag. Is it blue on white? Is it white on blue? Oh, I've got to get that right, haven't I? And I was going to do that blue, but that's going to be blue. So maybe I could do a purple. Yeah. Now I want to say it's the saltire, but I'm not entirely sure if I'm getting muddled up with the Cornish flag. This is number 6. I think that's what it's called. I just have to make sure I do it the right colour. I have coloured one before because Johanna did a Google Doodle picture once, and it had all sorts of Scottish themed things in it, and you could she released it as a download. You can still get it off her blog, and had like the Scottish animal. Do you know what animal their sort of national animal is? It's a unicorn, that real animal that exists in Scotland. But then Wales is a dragon. And oddly, we have a lion when there are no lions in, well, only in zoo have lions. It's very strange. But then it's not like there are unicorns. There aren't unicorns. Did you know? Or dragons. I can sort of understand the dragon thing though, because you know. Dinosaurs and that sort of thing. You know, if they'd found dinosaur bones, they might have thought it was a dragon. This is 33. I'm just going to use it for this bit. And I'm also going to use it for the pages, and I'm going to use it in sort of a mottledy way, because I don't know about you, but I used to have some old books and the edges of the pages were in a sort of pattern. I don't know. And we have a leaf shape, which I'm going to do in a brightish green just so that it stands out. And this is number 50. Now, it's a bit embarrassing not knowing what the Scottish flag looks like when I used to live there. I'm going to use 63, and I am going to do it like this. And if this is wrong, I'm going to be so embarrassed. You didn't really see it, you know, hanging around, flying about. Didn't really. I'm pretty sure that's right. But what I love Scotland also, Loch Ness Monster. It's such a fun tale. I'm going to do these in a really bright colour. I don't know why, I just fancy doing them in this bright orange, number 4. I went to a loch. Now, loch is just a Scottish word for lake, so it's nothing fancy. But I went to Loch Lomond, which was near to where I was living-ish, and I didn't see anything. It was really, I remember it was really cold, raining, as often is in Scotland. That's all I remember really. It's quite pretty. Couldn't see much, it was quite misty. Now our pot. Shall we do it? Let's do it this colour. Number 61. And what I'm going to do is do a little dark on the edge. I'm going to worry, well, we might just do that bit and then lighter towards the middle. Yeah, actually, my parents and my sister came with me to Loch Lomond, so they must have been staying. They stayed for a little bit while I was there. So, yeah, that's when we didn't go to Loch Ness. I'm doing this showing through the glasses because I'm thinking they're plain glass. Of course, you could colour them as shades if you wanted to put some dark glass in them, but I think it's easier doing them like that. There we go, nothing too fancy up. We've got our little duck. I think our duck needs to be yellow. Number 11. Yeah, I used to go to lots of different places. There was the Museum of Modern Art. I think I only went there once. I don't like modern art very much. So, used to go to the, I'm trying to choose a beak colour. There's an art gallery. I think it's a Kelvin Grove Art Gallery Museum, number 42. A dinosaur in there. This was fun. We need to do all these pens and pencils. It can be quite random. I think I'm going to do the wood of the pencils. Whoops. Number 49. And maybe the flag, the stick of the flag in the same colour as if that's wood as well. I'm sort of almost thinking it's one of those flags you stick in your sandcastles. I mean, I say that as if it's really obvious. In the UK, when you're at the beach, you buy a packet of flags. They're about so big, and they have different designs on them. Number 5, I'm just going to do a green pencil. And when you build your sandcastles, you stick some flags in the top. And the flags have a very thin wooden handle, which is so brittle that it breaks if your sand is too wet. Number 37, or too hard or too sharp. And the flags have usually, trying to remember because it's been quite a while since I've been to the beach and bought some flags. Number 24. Usually, I think I'm going to make it a little bit darker under the lid. They're a bit too small, these, to do much with, really. So I'm not trying to shade them, I'm just colouring them up. So you can, you know, just do however you wish. I'm going to make one black for 9. And then you get a Scottish one, you get an English one, a St George's Cross, you get a Union Jack, which is the flag of the UK. I can do this green, the 57. You get a Welsh one with a Welsh harp on normally, which is a bit strange because the Welsh flag is a dragon. I think you get that as well. I'm trying to remember. As I say, it's quite a long time. I'm going to do my wand in number 20. I think it should be pink. I don't know why I think that. I can't say as I've ever owned a fairy wand. When I was a child, I didn't really into that sort of magic-y things. I don't think they really sold things like this. Or maybe my mum just didn't buy them for me. Or whoever bought me prezzies didn't buy me fairy things. Now I'm thinking our robot's going to be quite metallic, but I'm not sure that it's going to be just silver, but I think there might be some silver on it. I'm going to do a bit and then leave some gaps for some colour bits, I think. Number 80. I shall just see how we go, really. Yeah, I didn't really have, I didn't even have like fairy dolls or anything. I know our Christmas tree fairy had a little wand, because it wasn't an angel, which the things on top of UK Christmas trees are usually angels. But ours had a wand like it was a fairy, which was interesting and different. And my mum had it for a long time. It had a very flat skirt so that it sort of sat flat on the Christmas tree. I think I'm going to continue to make him silvery and then make like his eyes and the buttons coloured. I think we'll continue with that sort of idea that there's some shine about halfway down. Yeah, so we had that one with the wand, but of course I wasn't allowed to play with that one. So it's for the Christmas tree. So no, I don't think I had any. But I used to have quite a lot of dolls. I had a Cindy, wasn't allowed Barbies, too expensive. Cindy's are like a UK version of a Barbie really, I suppose, and they were much cheaper. I think I'm going to do that one that way, so the lighter bit is in the middle that way. It just seems to make more sense to me. Yes, I had Cindy in Tiny Tears and Teeny Weeny Tiny Tears and various unbranded sort of dolls. I think I'm going to do the eyes blue. I had thought red, but then I'm thinking, no, that's a bit scary, isn't it? Number 30. Let's do them blue. Maybe we'll do all these buttons red. That would make more sense. So yeah, I used to have a lot of things. I had a lot of sort of, I guess, non-branded, slightly cheaper dolls and toys, 29, because you know, we weren't a well-off family, and my aunts and uncles and grandparents, it weren't well off either. But that was fine. I had lots of lovely things to play with. I didn't know any different. When you're a young child, you have no idea. Yes, you see the adverts on the telly, number 35, for all the different things that you really want. But at the end of the day, you just enjoy what you've got. Yeah, my mum used to try and buy me the things that I liked, but certain toys and games that I always wanted, like Buckaroo, for example, I know it's still, I've played it since, because one of my sister's children had it. I'm making this whole pot the same colour, and but why would you leave a coffee pot? There was one further up as well, wasn't there? Anyway. But I can see why she didn't buy it for me, because actually it's quite dull. And Pop-Up Pirate I always wanted. Now I bought it for my kids and it was so boring, because the version that we had, what you do on the game, I'm just going to use number 16 to do the teddy, and I'm just going to scribble it round like this. What you do is you push the sword into a barrel, and the one who pushes it in the space that makes the pirate pop up loses. So my mum didn't like the idea of the game that someone loses. There is no winner. She hated that idea, which is fair enough. But I bought one for my kids anyway, because I'd always wanted one, and it was always the same hole that the sword went in that made him pop up. So within a few plays of the game, they knew which one to do, so they found it really dull. So yeah, I can see, I was really glad that I had not been given it, and I was a bit annoyed that I gave it to them, but anyway, we passed it on to somebody else, and hopefully they passed it on and passed it on. And I think if you bought some of the more expensive versions actually, they changed places, but in ours it didn't, number 73. Unless there was some trick that I didn't know of. But anyway, I'm continuing with my sort of rounded colouring, just to try and give the impression of fur. Johanna's drawn him sort of jiggly to help us. I'm going to grab a black for his eyes, and I'm just going to do them quite solid as if they're little buttons. I used to have loads of teddies. I always preferred them to dolls because you could cuddle them. Dolls are a bit hard for cuddling. I never really understood my friends who would take their dolls to bed and cuddle them, and I would think, it's so hard. Why do you want to do that? I'm just trying to pick a colour for the bow and I'm being really indecisive. I think I'm going to go for this pinky red colour that I've just dropped. Number 23. So no, I didn't have. I always wanted a rag doll like Laura Ingalls Wilder in the Little House books, but so I asked for one Christmas, and I got one eventually. I had to ask a few times before I got it because I think my mum thought it was like a bit of a passing phase, which good on her for thinking that could well have been. And she got me this really big one, and it had a really hard head. It wasn't china. I know some dolls sort of have china, but it was stuffed really hard, so it wasn't soft and cuddly, and it just wasn't what I wanted. So that was that was a shame. But number 76, what I really wanted was one a bit like Raggedy Ann. My sister had a Raggedy Andy, and I didn't have one. I don't know, it's very odd because because being identical twins, we were very often always given the same things, so I don't know why she got one and I didn't. But maybe she bought it with her own money. She might have done that. And he was lovely. So in the end we asked for Raggedy Ann's, and we were both given one, but they were a bit too small for cuddling. But they were so expensive. I don't know if the case in America, but I guess we were paying import duty and stuff. So now we've coloured the bag sort of brown. I'm thinking about might be a little bit darker down here in the bottom and maybe towards this sort of central fold. So I'm just going to put a little bit extra colouring in there just to try and give it a little bit more shape. And then I'm just going to make it a little darker at the bottom where there might be some shadow. And then we'll colour the apple. I'm going to keep it quite simple, the apple, because I'm thinking it's printed on the bag, it's not meant to be a real apple. So I'm just going to use number 56 to colour it in quite plain colouring. Although it might be a photo of an apple and look a bit more realistic, I think it's more likely to have been printed on. Oops, and I'm going to find a different green for the leaf, if I can grab hold of one. Number 5 will do nicely. Got to keep an eye on the time. What are we doing? Yeah, we're okay at the minute. I've got it. I'm getting on Skype later. I'm going to use number 77 for the little stalky bit. It's a different shade of brown, so it should stand out a bit more. That's it. I kept the bag quite light and rough, as if it might have been paper. We have all this luggage down here. This one's really ornate, isn't it? I think I'm going to do this sort of leaves and vines first, and I'm just going to grab a green and do them in green. I think just quite a plain green. Whoops. I mean, I'm thinking, looks like a really special case. I use 52, and I might almost expect this to be gold printed on, but that's really difficult to colour in such a little tiny space. So I'm going to make it easy on myself, especially as we've got such a detailed page to do, and just keep it green. And I'm sure it will still look fine. Sorry, talking really slow. I'm trying to ponder what colour to do the background of the case at the same time as talking to you and colour. My brain is struggling. I had a very nutritious lunch. It should be working really well. I had popped to the shop just before lunch to get a few goodies, and got some salad bits and some smushed avocado. I know I should have bought fresh avocados, but they take time to ripen, so I bought some smushed avocados that's ready to eat. And we had sort of smushed avocado sandwiches with various other fillings. I put some tomato and some lettuce and some edamame beans in with mine. The boys all had a bit of chicken in theirs. I don't eat meat, so I didn't. And I had a few bits of veggies on the side, and then I bought some mango. It's delicious. Again, I cheated and I bought pre-prepared mango, but I find that it's really hard to know when it's ready to eat. So, and if you leave it too long, then it spoils. So I thought it was much less wasteful to buy one that was already prepared. I'm picking my colour, which is what I did. I'm going to go for 42 for the background of this case. I'm just going to sort of plain colour it really and fill in the colour and then see how it looks. Oh, excuse me. I haven't done my yoga today. Yesterday I didn't. I did some Pilates instead. I've been trying on my app, there's Pilates, and I thought I would give it a go. It's really short, it's about 15 minutes, which was nice. But it was a special one for back, strengthening your back. So I thought that might be useful, seeing as my husband has hurt his back. I need to make sure mine's functioning. I've got a bit of a trapped nerve in my back at the minute, and so occasionally if I sit awkwardly or for too long, I can't walk for a minute because it hurts in my leg, but I can walk it off. So it's fine. And I have had it so many times. I know how to manage it, so it's fine. But, and I also know how I did it. It was an unusual circumstance, let's say. The washing machine was leaking and I was panicking trying to wipe it up and awkwardly twisting. So it's not something that I am going to do again, I hope. So that's fine. Okay, so we've done this, but I think that's okay. I'm going to try and just make the edges a little bit darker. I don't know why, I feel like they could do with being a bit darker than the rest. I don't know if it'll even really show up. It's quite a nice colour this, isn't it? Almost yellow but orange. And I'm going to do the handle the same. Just noticed there's those stripes, could have done those in green. I'm going to grab my green again, the 52, and just go over that bit where I missed some. I'm colouring at my desk a very complex Hannah Carlson picture. It's very different to this, it's a person. This one, I want to do blue. Which shade of blue should we do? This shade. I can't get hold of it. There we go. Number 37. It's as I say, it's a person, it's a face, female face, and with sort of flowers and leaves around on the face and in the hair. So it's a very different sort of picture. It hasn't got tiny details, but it's got, I'm still trying to practice my sort of skin tone and things, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. I did think I might show you, do a sort of flip through video of all my Hannah Carlson pictures maybe at some point. Maybe of all my Kirby's. I did one of my Rita's once. And I was also wondering whether to show you all the pictures I've done so far in this book. I'm not quite halfway yet, but I thought maybe once I reach halfway, it might be a good time to sort of show you. I'm going to use a darker blue, number 3, for the rest. You would think if you lost a whole suitcase, you might come back and claim it quite quickly. That's quite a lot of things to lose. Although, yeah, my husband went somewhere once on a work trip, I can't remember, a foreign country on a plane, I can't remember where, and everyone on the flight that he was working with lost their luggage apart from him. And it just didn't turn up on the conveyor belt. And so the first thing they had to do was go to a sort of shopping mall, I think it was in America, and I'm just going to go back to that other blue and fill in a few bits here. Look, there's quite a, I try to leave a bit of white to make it look shiny, but I think there's too much there. And they'd all went and bought clothes. But he used to go to Sweden a lot and buy clothes there. I think it was Sweden. They were really nice clothes. This one I'm going to do in yellow. It's not going to match at all, and that's sort of the idea really. So this is number 1, because the people at the Lost Property Office wouldn't match the labels to the items, would they? And I think it also adds a bit of realism, and it would stand out, which maybe you'd want to do. This is like a matching set. This one here I think I'm going to do in brown. I think a lot of suitcases are just sort of brown, aren't they? Number 73. Maybe things have changed since last time I travelled on a plane, which I think, oh, there's a bit of blue missing there, isn't there, in there. I'm going to just pop that in now. Oops, again back to number 37. Sun's just come out and confused me. Because I can't see my screen. Yeah, it's a long time since I travelled, as I say. I think it might have been my honeymoon. Wow, I don't know. I think it might have been last time I went abroad. Wow, that was 2001, maybe 2000, because we got married on the 23rd of December. That's our wedding anniversary. I'm going to make this darker at the bottom and then fade it up. And yeah, we went on our honeymoon after Christmas, so I'm not quite sure whether it went across the New Year or whether we did New Year first. But yeah, we went to Amsterdam together. I think that's all we've done. We haven't taken the boys anywhere. I was going to do that darker. What I'm going to do is do that. I'm doing quite a harder amount. Let's just do that one a bit. Then I'm going to get a darker brown. I'm going to use the 76 to go over the handle. And that bit at the bottom, just so that it's like they've tried to make it look more interesting in its design. We've got this thing here, and I'm going to colour that brown as if it's sort of part of the case, but this obviously isn't. So I'm going to grab, whoops, number 11, if I can get hold of it, for the sticky tape part. And then let's do a little pink label in number 20, why not? Right, let me just see, because we've got 3 cases here. Yeah, I've got time. This will be the last bit though, these 3. I'm thinking I might do them green, just we haven't got a lot of green around this sort of area. If I had cases, green cases, I want them quite a dark green. I think it's a little bit more elegant. So this is number 5. And I'm going to do the main parts of the cases in this colour, and I'm going to do them all the same, as if they're not a matching set, are they? No. Okay, we'll just do this one in green. I thought they were a matching set, but looking at the handles and things, they're not. They're just similar. So that's, look, there's an arrow. Oh, Johanna. She I don't know if you know the story of Johanna and her arrows. When she makes a mistake, when she's inking a picture, she draws an arrow to point to it, so she corrects it. Can you? So the mistake is presumably that line going through there, because it doesn't go through that one. So she's drawn an arrow to remind herself that when she edits it in whatever she uses, puts it on her computer, but she needs to erase that. But she has forgotten. which is interesting. I think maybe she needs to find a different way of doing it, but then again it might be really, really effective, and the fact that I've spotted one, you know, there might have been hundreds, but it's hard to imagine that she's made hundreds of mistakes that she needs to highlight to herself. But there's an arrow, there's two that I found in World of Flowers, and that's the first one I found in here, although I did find I think it was somewhere where there was a leaf and it wasn't attached to anything, like there's a stem missing or something. Nothing major. I'm going to put a bit of shadow under there. Now you could do this with the dark grey, but I'm just going to do it like that. Now for this sort of sides and handle, like we did on this one, we use a different colour, but maybe we'll go lighter, not darker, so it's a little bit different. We use 57. I've tried to make the front a little bit darker than the top, because I think the top is more likely to be catching the light than the front isn't really that obvious. And we'll do the hand in this colour. There we go. Now I think the clasps would sort of be metallic. I'm going to use the dark, no I'm not. Because it's dark, I'm going to use the lighter colour. I think it will stand out more, so the number 80. And leave some white in the middle. This side's a bit different, and then just colour those two over. There we go. Okay, our next suitcase. It looks to me like a sort of brown leather case. I don't know why I think that. So number 77. It's going to be a little bit thicker than the brown on the bag. And the trim we'll do in black, I think, and make it look a sort of more masculine colour. And maybe we'll do the bottom one in a real contrast. Maybe pink or purple, something like that. Have a think in a minute. Can you see all this clutter here? Imagine if you were trying to, this is behind the desk, trying to stand there, you'd be falling over on that roller skate. It'd be quite tricky, wouldn't it? I'm just doing plain colouring really, just trying to make sure that I get into all the little gaps, all the nooks and crannies, as we would say. I'm changing the direction of colouring quite a bit, and that's always a risk because you can sometimes see the sort of lines, but I think it's okay. It's much better with a smaller area. You can take more risks. When you do it on a bigger area, it becomes more apparent, I think. There we go. And then I'm going to grab my black for the handle, number 9, and the trim. So this trim on the edge, quite a dark black, and all of the trim in black, like it's sort of leathery, I suppose. And the handle, I'm going to make that light, and then make it a bit darker along the bottom. Got a lot of space to play with, and along the inside makes it look slightly more rounded. Make that a bit darker. The clasps again, I think I'm going to do silver. Again, the lighter got grey, number 80 in exactly the same way. So dark here, leave a gap, dark here, leave a gap. Excuse me, dark here, leave a gap. And the same on the bottom, leaving the gap in the middle. Now, as I say, I'm going to do this one a bit brighter. I'm just looking at what pinks we've used and where. I think I'm going to use this one. It's number 20. We've got the edges. Let's just use it for the inside part. Trying to use it fairly evenly if I can. And we use a different colour for the trim like we have on all the others. I think why would it be there if it wasn't going to be a different colour? I mean, my case is, oh, I can't even remember. I've got a sort of wheelie case and an overnight bag. I tend to use overnight bags more. We used to have little night weekends away or the odd night away, which was always fun. We don't do that anymore. I mean, firstly, we used to do it more when we lived a bit further away from family, so we stayed with them for the weekend. So you need a little bag of bits. But now we live near family, we don't spend the night away anymore. I know father-in-law is maybe less than an hour away, and we used to sometimes stay with him, but it used to be hard with the children because they wouldn't sleep very well if they weren't in their own beds. So we just sort of started just making a day trip out of it. And now it's like, well, I really want to stay and dirty a set of sheets for one night. 61, you know, be a bit of a nuisance. Also, we're all really fussy eaters and things like that. So I'm not sure how well that goes. Never mind. So if you feel like you're being a nuisance. So yeah, my husband's been finding various foods don't agree with him as well now, so he's become more fussy. And he's trying to be healthier at the minute, which is nice. Now handle. This is Barbie's case, do you think? Can I make it a little darker around the bottom? I think it's Barbie's case. Let's do this bit number 80 again for the clasps. So I'm going to put that shine on the half of the top one and then the bottom one a bit in the middle. There we go. Now let's see, I think we've done a nice little section. I have got to get going in a moment anyway. I want to make a drink before I start Skype or else I run out of voice. So I'm going to do that and make my husband a drink. It's got a sore back by. Oh, we haven't done this label or these bits. How many of you shouted out to tell me? Didn't shout loudly enough. Let's grab a few random colours. Oops. Let's grab the orange number 4 and do this bit. I don't know what these are. Or do you think it's all the same colour? Let's do it all the same colour, as if it's sort of scrumply paper on top of something precious. You know, like you might have tissue paper or something. That's what I was just thinking, rather than it being lots of different things. Thinking maybe it's just all the same. Now our teddy bear needs a colour on his label. I'm thinking we'll go for a lilac. This light purple, which is number 62. And then I will check again and make sure that I really have finished it this time. We haven't done that dot, I realised that. I was going to leave it and do it the same colour as the shelf holders, but I think I will do it all in case, because I think I'm likely to forget it. So I'm going to just use the very dark grey and do it darker on the edge and less in the middle. Hopefully it looks a little bit shiny. There we go. Now I think we're finished. I'm just checking to see if you can see the very top. Where are those? Yeah, I can't see that corner of my page very well. But yeah, it looks like you can see it all. Let's put it into the middle. There we go. So that is that little section done. We've probably got 2 more videos on this page before we move across to the next page. I'm not sure whether to finish these and have a little break, or whether just to carry on and finish the whole double. I haven't decided. You can tell me what you think. I may have already made a decision by the time the video goes up and you've told me, but we'll see. But anyway, for now, thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a really lovely day and happy colouring.